We've got some
Hey,
fresh new
I'm
young
Luis.
talent
And
doing some
I'm
things
Luis.
that I know
And you're
you
listening
haven't
to the
heard
Content is
before.
Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit.
If you'd like to learn more on how to create that content or how to turn that content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com.
That's right. We have a special surprise for you, so don't forget and go to contentisprofit.com. Today, super special guests, guys, and super special topics. We're going to be talking about pioneering private investing communities and international TV shows.
Say what?
I know, that's a
Oh,
cool
man.
combo right there.
A cool combo. Do we have a sponsor today, Fonzie? Do we have a sponsor
We
today?
do. You want to know who it is?
Please tell me.
Today's sponsor
So
is
it's a surprise.
The Biz Bros.
The Biz
You're on the Biz
Bros.
Bros. We are the sponsors of our own show. Surprise, surprise, with
baby.
Content Momentum.
Yeah.
What is Content Momentum, you might be asking? Well, if you have a long form piece of content, just like this one that you're listening to or watching, we can turn it into value-packed, bite-sized assets just for you. So then you can send them like little minions into social media to get clients. Now,
Sweet.
if you want to know more about Content Momentum, please reach out at BizBrosCo on Instagram and Facebook.
That's right. Before we get started with the show, please go ahead and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button so you know when those episodes are dropping on your phone. And follow us on social media at BizBrosCo.
And if you find this episode impactful, you know what you need to do. You gotta share it. Share with everybody. And leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
That's right. So today we are venturing into what is unknown lands for many. Not only that, but some direct marketers are even afraid of talking about this. But more on that later. Today's guest was a keynote speaker at PodMax. We immediately knew we had to have him on the show. So naturally, #TableFace, we asked him to be our guest.
Guys, I don't think you understand. I have been so pumped up about today's guest since he said yes. He comes from the world of private equity funding, which, like we said, is foreign land for some direct marketers. That being said, today's guest knows his fair share about startups and how to grow successful businesses.
His experience goes from Wall Street and real estate and the way to private equity funding and being a producer of international television show Meet the Drapers. How interesting is this guy? Not only that, he is also the CEO of Republic Crowdfunding Portal and probably the most important thing, proud husband and father.
That's right. I can't wait. And I am sure you can need it either. So without further ado, please welcome CEO of Republic Crowdfunding Portal and the one guy you want to have in your network, Mr. Chuck Pettid. Welcome, Chuck.
Thank you. I love the energy. You guys are
Oh man,
Thank you.
Today we were like juggling this new setup, and it was like the energy, and we're trying to figure this like the whole flow. But the show's on the way. Chuck, thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to have you here and sharing all your knowledge.
I'm excited to be here and share away. I'm ready to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a little background for those listening. We met Chuck at the PodMax event, and he was the keynote speaker, and we were just blown away by the things that you were sharing, Chuck. This, again, at the moment, I've been, looking, reading, trying to learn more about the venture capitalist world, funding. And I love all that startup. We are fans of the Silicon Valley show, all that type of
so
stuff,
good.
right?
So good.
And then you came in and you were just dropping bombs of knowledge and new opportunities that we didn't know existed. And people need to know about this. So Chuck, before we get into all that golden, meat nuggets, whatever you want to call it, who is Chuck and how did you get there?
It's been a long ride. So I've been in New York for 22 years now, believe it or not. I know I look really young and vibrant, but I've been
Absolutely.
here for a while as my lights turn off.
It's all
But
good.
so I started off with a pretty classic Wall Street, experience, got into hedge funds. I went to grad school, then got into hedge funds, got the entrepreneurial bug, started off with a real estate company that I founded and led for about 6 years. I wanted to get back into mainstream investing, found my route through through angel investing in startups. I started a little micro VC fund. One thing led to another. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, help me network. And I met a couple of fellows who were currently at AngelList, which is the world's largest platform for private investments. And they were coming up with a plan for what is called Republic. I loved it from the very second I heard about it, had to be part of it. Was lucky enough to be asked to be part of it, and basically came on as the first employee. And for you guys who don't know what it is an investment crowdfunding platform. We came to the world with a regulation crowdfunding license. It lets us and the companies we've worked with raise money from anyone, anywhere, regardless of their wealth. So it's really one of the first opportunities for people to invest in private companies. It was part of the 2012 Jobs Act, didn't go effective until May of 2016, the same month that we came to life.
Yeah.
That was me. I came into it to help build out the deal team. We were 5 people then, and today we're 105 plus people.
Wow.
We had 4 campaigns then, 25,000 users, and $75,000 average raise per campaign. Today we have 60 live campaigns, 800,000 registered users, and average campaign size of about 500,000 over the last year and a half.
Wow.
So it's becoming a thing.
Yeah.
That is amazing, and I want people to understand is the opportunity that's in this, right? Because before the title, before Title III, right, is called, that passed on 2016, you needed to have certain, right, I guess you needed
to fit a profile.
Yeah, you need to fit a profile to be able to invest, right? How difficult was for people to actually fit that profile? What they needed to have?
Yeah, you need to be an accredited investor, and to be an accredited investor, you need something along the lines of $250,000 a year in income for 2 years straight, or $1 million in assets, not including your primary residence. That leaves very few people who are accredited, which means there's very few people who can invest in these opportunities, like you read about in the papers after they made someone $100 million. It really did open the doors to millions and millions of people, billions if you really look at it.
Yeah.
And it's about diversifying the playing field, or about democratizing the playing field, I should say, not diversifying. We're trying to diversify it with a lot of new verticals and everything like that. So we can get into that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear the word opportunity, right? Not only for people on the investing side of things, but also for people that are building these amazing companies with, amazing products or amazing services that they can reach, hundreds or thousands of people that will add so much value to their lives, right? Like we heard a couple of stories. So what, I'm curious, what was the motivation behind this whole movement? Because I'm assuming you guys faced a lot of resistance, right? From maybe the marketplace or maybe the industry. Are you guys still facing that resistance? How was that process?
Tons of stereotypes, tons of people who didn't believe. Silicon Valley, especially, being one of the places that didn't believe. They're a pretty tight-knit community who like to have their own, private deal flow, where it was a bit of a good old boys network.
Yeah.
One of the things we came out of the gates with, we immediately talked the talk on, we've since walked the walk on, is really representing the underserved founder. So that can be minority founders, it can be female founders, it can also be a guy or gal from Fargo, South Dakota, who's typically overlooked in the venture space. So we wanted to build a platform that was inclusive and could cater to people, because we look at it as being ideas, they're not restricted to borders, and people have really good businesses that, exist in places you don't look. Now we're giving them a platform to kind of climb to the top of the mountain and, scream. It's a great chance to get exposure to who you are, what you're building. You can pick up some dollars along the way from, and for all the investors, or you can get new clients that'll buy your products and services. One thing to immediately shake out of your mind is this is not like rewards-based crowdfunding. It's a completely different beast. We're not a Kickstarter or Indiegogo. The psyche of the investor, our user, is much different. They want a return on investment, and that'll go as far. And I've seen this plenty of times. If they're putting $20 in, it maybe their nephew who's doing the campaign. They're not going to put it in unless they really feel like it's going to make a return on investment.
Yeah.
And people say, why? It's crowd investing. They're doing $20 like they care. It's not that big a deal. They're not sophisticated. First of all, they're very sophisticated. The vast majority of investors are sophisticated. Secondly, I like to put into perspective and say, if you've worked with an employer who gives you a 401k plan, you get that bi-weekly check ends up getting split to that plan. It may go to, say, 10 mutual funds. The one with the least amount of diversification gets $20 sent to it. What do you want that $20 to do? Are you throwing it away? You want to have a return on investment in that mutual fund 2, 3, 5, 10 years out. You want a return on investment. That's the mentality of our users and investor base when they look at these opportunities. And I think that's a huge positive for the for the future of this industry. People aren't just throwing away their money; they're looking for something.
Absolutely, Fonzie. I know you want to like dive in with a ton of questions that you. But before this, I have you mentioned this in a few of the shows that we hear that you were on, and you just mentioned it too, like the underserved founder, right? Like, and we're originally from Venezuela, right? Our accents have improved like a lot since we first came here, which is good. But as somebody foreign, I hear a success story with one of your Hispanic, companies, which is so awesome. And then, but I was listening to a show how I built this, and they were interviewing. I think his name is Toad, like the Calendly founder, right? And he's a black man from Nigeria. And he faced this whole thing when he went to go to these places to get some money, right? And he's like, man, like I just feel like he wrote it on his like biography and his articles. Like I feel the resistance because of the way that I look, because of the way that I speak. So to me, what you guys are doing is wonderful. I just want to bring that up to light because there's so many people out there with wonderful ideas, and maybe that perception in front of the people that make those decisions play against them, and you guys are leveling this playing field. Like we talk a lot with content and community building and all this. So I just wanted to acknowledge that because there's a huge market, not only on the investing side, but also on the opportunity and consumer side of things, because our products are creating real value that are being overseen because XYZ, because the founder doesn't, speak proper English or doesn't look a certain way.
I love what you mentioned about leveling the playing field, right? And honestly, that's how I saw it. Was when you started talking about Republic, I was like, wow, what a great opportunity. Because I think you can invest as little as $10, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so through our Reg CF deals, you can invest as low as, it's up to the founder to decide what the minimum investment amount is, but it can be as low as 10. Sometimes it's like 50, but it's cheap.
Exactly. But
it's accessible.
But it means, and this is how I see it, right? Because when these big private deals, right, that other people didn't have access to happen, right, a few are benefiting there, but at the same time, the company then it has to kind of like build their audience as well as they go. What I see fantastic here in Republic is like these companies, while they're getting crowdfunded, they're also, is people believing in this company, and they're probably going to be clients as well on this, and they themselves are going to turn around and spread the voice and share with more people. So the community aspect of it, it's huge.
You hit our 3 main goals for every campaign, whether it's through, and we'll go into some more later, we're not just Reg CF, we also have Reg A, Reg D, we have real estate, we have video games, we have Main Street, we have a lot of different verticals, but and early and late stage, everything in between. So companies, our main focus for them, and it's actually really through content, which is why I think it's a perfect show for me to be on. This whole industry, to understand like there's mega opportunity within this industry for you, if you can do it the right way. If we can get someone to a deal page, a user, a current investor of ours, whoever, and they can make an informed decision to either invest, become a client, or tell someone else about it, it's going to be a successful campaign. Even if they only do one of those. If you do 2, you're looking really damn good. If you do all 3, it's going to be a super successful campaign for you. You're going to want to come back for more later on, for other crowd review.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you have any success story that has happened with all those 3 things happen?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think the average number of investors per campaign now is somewhere around 1,900. Average raise, I told you, is about 500K over the last, year and a half. And then we'll see, key metrics on teams go, like they'll pick up a couple new 1,000 clients. They'll sell a few $100,000 worth of new products and services. We've had some that have sold millions of dollars worth of new because our campaigns, and we all know of it. This is why I use it. I'd rather, call it something different. Maybe we can come up with something different for it, but it's the Shark Tank effect.
Love it.
When people watch television, they watch Shark Tank, they can't invest. They're like, I'm going to go buy that thing. The same thing happens over time. It's not like a one-night wonder.
Yeah.
So it happens over time on the campaign with Republic. You get out in front of 20,000 people. You get out in front of 100,000 people. We send it to our 800,000 user base. And there's all these pops that happen with the product and service. And it doesn't need to be, a consumer product. It doesn't need to be something that they can touch. We've seen this happen with SaaS companies. We've seen this happen with deep tech companies. There needs to just be something relatable to the general mass audience. Like real estate's a good example. You have like a hardcore real estate tech firm.
Yeah.
It's not really, something that they can use in their their residential neighborhood, but they get retail. It's for commercial property use. Yeah, but you know what? They know a couple guys who own or work at a commercial property, or they're commercial investors, and they tell someone else about it, and it leads to business. And it happens across all campaigns, every campaign in Republic over the time period that they spend with us.
Wow.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, I love that term, the Shark Tank effect. And hopefully, it changes into the Republic effect.
Republic effect.
And that's what I'm seeing. It'll get to a point where Republic, I mean, you guys are now probably one of the leading, platforms for equity crowdfunding, right?
We are, yeah.
So it'll get to a point where people are gonna, we were crowdfunded in Republic, and I think that's just gonna be an extra marketing element for all these brands.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing that. This is actually helping us break some of these stereotypes down that we faced 4 years ago, and still face some today. But
yeah,
something along the lines of 72% of the companies we've campaigned for or campaigned with have gone on to raise institutional funds post-campaign, and a lot of the feedback I get is that those venture capitalists, corporate funds, institutional or high net worth individual investments, they love to hear what the crowd had to say about the product or service, what they had to say about the founders. It's just validation, but it's from not 5 or 10 people, but sometimes 500 or 1,000 people, and they're like, wow, that's
Yeah,
I made 100 phone calls and never got that much information. So it's really good for the diligence and validation part of their pitch.
This is so awesome. So
wait, sorry, before
come
you
on,
dive in
let me know.
Because
Okay.
this comes at the perfect moment. Earlier today we had we were
You read my mind, bro. Again,
in a different interview.
Okay,
and
that's good. So good.
After the call, right behind the cameras, they asked us about, hey, we don't have a product yet or a service, and we want to, start selling. How do we do it? How do you guys do it? And our answer is talk to people. You need to talk to people and let them, tell you what they want, what problem they want solved, and you can build that product with them. So when you are talking about the community itself, already giving you that feedback with your product. And I'm sure throughout the process, of course, these companies are, building and they're bettering their products and services, right? It's just an amazing ecosystem of its own, where it's the people that are believing in this company and they're investing is feeding them as well to become a better business. And this business is giving these people an awesome opportunity for them to
if I move here, can I turn it on? Okay.
And this business is giving them an awesome opportunity for these people to invest and hopefully in the future get a return on their investment.
Yep, and I think one of the things we're seeing unfold today over and over again is along the lines of swarm theory. Are you guys familiar with that?
No, but we're open ears. Let's go.
And I may have the wrong science name for this, but a group of bees is smarter than a single bee. Basically, they can go and group together, deliver on the colony, get food for everyone kind of thing. So you're seeing that with the crowd mentality too, where a group of people end up making a smarter, wiser decision than an individual does. So it's stuff like that is happening so much at Republic and across the industry that it's really super, validating to me. Someone has been doing this since the beginning. It's just looking like it has become a thing in everyone's, a tool in everyone's toolkit.
That's so interesting, and I think this has been coming up a lot in the conversations that we've been having on the show, or even behind cameras with some of the people that we talk to on the content side of things, like the perspective of content, right? So we see a lot of the content that we reference is perfect because or is at a very good level because they've been executing it for a long time. So the second we started to perceive our own content as a testing ground to test the message, to then attract those dream customers, to then, either sell them into a service or a product, the faster we started seeing this thing. So I want to relate it to what you guys do because, see the company as, hey, we put it out there, right? Who is a fan enough or who believes in this idea, this product that they can join us? And then that's the proof of concept that they need to take it to the next level. Right. I'm assuming before they get to that point, like what does a founder or a business owner need to hit to be able to work with you guys or start implementing this process?
Yeah. So, I mean, we do have a diligence process. We do have, investors in our minds. So we want to bring them the most viable opportunities that we can find. And one of the things that I realize is that most investors are looking for a series of milestones achieved. There's no specific mix of those milestones achieved that will always mean this is going to be a great campaign. But it's, it can be various things like they've already raised capital before. They've, sold their first product. They have a team experience. The founder was actually experienced it with a similar company. Maybe they had an exit. They have a cool partner, like a cool partnership. They have a meaningful partnership. You can go down the line. There's literally hundreds of different milestones that, even thousands of different milestones that companies can achieve. And it's having some combination of those is what causes people to be attracted to it, to learn more about it. And a lot of that actually comes, and this is part of our, I'm not just, trying to play to your guys' show here, but a lot of it comes down to content, why we're so focused on content. We're always about making fresh content about the actual opportunity so people will have a chance to read more about it or learn more about it. If they're doing that, it gets them to the deal page. And then if we've done our job in putting their best foot forward and that we're able to make, visitors easily consume and digest that information, they do those things I talked about: invest, become a client, tell someone else about it. So having bite-sized pieces or being able to deliver messages about who you are, what you're building, etc., in various ways. And a lot of times it's because people just don't read everything that comes across their desk, so you have to repeat yourself a bunch.
Yep.
It's really to inform them so they can come in and make that decision. And at that point, the actual crowd sophistication takes over. And if they see something they think will have a return on investment, they will invest. And that's when it becomes super special.
Wow, that's amazing. And thank you so much for putting content up there as well. I mean, we really appreciate it, because when it comes, from the mouth of a CEO, it gives it so much, relevance to the topic as well.
And a little of the psyche too is just like the momentum game. You throw out one, you get out another, you get some investors, you see some new clients, and then it keeps on kind of snowballing from there. If you can continue to feed that beast, you're going to have a really successful run in probably all three of the main focuses that we have.
Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting. Now, so here's the deal, right? Because when we first started in the direct response marketing world, right?
Wait. Sorry.
You don't want me to go there yet?
Not yet. I have one question, which is kind of regarding, community, and because this is how I see content, right? Like a few years back, it was very centralized too, right? Like the media, only a few had access to the message that you could put out there, right? And then with social media, now everybody has access to it. Again, kind of like leveling the playing field for a lot of businesses and a lot of people. So it kind of the decentralized media, if you want to put it that way. So I'm seeing this same effect with you guys, right? And again, you guys, this just started, let's say, 4 years ago. So, I mean, compared to Wall Street that has, many, many years, you guys are just starting up. And I can't wait to see, because I feel like you guys are going to be causing this decentralizing effect in finance.
So I feel very strongly about it. It's one of the coolest things that we've actually released in a while, and we've released a lot recently. We're calling it social capital, and what that is users of ours are asked, they're either prompted when they visit the site, or sometimes we'll share it in newsletters to get these individuals signed up, but they'll be asked if they want to help their portfolio companies. That would be, anyone that they've invested in becomes a portfolio company of theirs. If they say yes, they're asked to fill out a series of questions and forms, basically helping, identify who they are, what their expertise is, where they may have a ability to give a lending hand.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, the founder of the company that ran the campaign receives a, interactive, access to an interactive page where they can kind of look at it and say, okay, I had average 1,800 investors, and 200 of those individuals are marketing experts, 300 of them are attorneys, and 400 are business development. But 50 of those people came from Georgia, and 75 of them have experience with consumer products, so on and so forth, so that they can have meaningful conversations with a large number of people who want to help them, who want to help that company grow because they're aligned. They want to actually make money on their investment, and that company wants to have these people be the evangelists that they were looking for in the first place. Yeah. So that will be, I think, a major. It's kind of a major turning point for us to be really. I've already heard from founders who are onboarding or just being pitched the sale of running a crowdfunding campaign. Say, I do it just for that.
Yeah. Wow. Just the value of that.
I mean, the
data
network.
Yes.
The network that you are creating there. What you just explained, honestly, like for those that are just listening, I have a smile from one ear to the other one.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't fit in the new setup. Make it bigger.
Because this is so important. And you're talking about those meaningful connections, right? And again, previous investing world, right? When you only pitch to a small group of people and they were investing. These people have very large networks as well, right? Very important networks. But now you still have access to that and probably even bigger because of all these people now that are coming and sharing this data with you, right? So, I mean, I have nothing else to say besides thank you.
Than like the $20 or $50 investment people make. I mean, of course, you do have some people put $100 in that are worth several $1 million, but the founder would never know that. You also have people who put in $50 who are only worth $50.
Yeah.
But they have an amazing social media following or network or business that actually has connections that they need.
Absolutely.
And now individuals are willing to share that. The network effect becomes substantially bigger than ever was before.
Yeah,
that's true.
The more and more, we put this show out there and we start connecting with people, just like you. It's the same thing, right? Like right now, anything that they ask us, we're like, just go to Republic, right? Go there, go find out, go connect with Chuck. And I think that's where we've seen the most value out of creating or producing a piece of content like this. Is the relationships that we're able to build not only with the guests but with everybody listening, everybody connecting through that common thing. And you guys are taking it to a whole new level in a whole new industry. Like it's just amazing and gratifying to see that this is happening, because as the world moves forward, especially in other countries, right? Like wow, like this will be this will mean so much to so many people if we are able to offer it to the millions and millions of people all around. And I hope that's the case. I know there might be some regulations here and there, and it might take some time, but people listening to this or watching this, right, can then start moving the pieces to make this happen, because it only elevates everybody. It elevates the community. And it's so important that for this to be heard.
Yeah, we're actively pursuing different international partnerships and even joint ventures. Are doing it on our own because we've had a lot of governments, countries knock on our door and say, we want your tech stack and your, vision placed in our country. So that came from France, it came from India, it came from Australia. Yeah. And then we have, we actually have boots on the ground in Kuwait, that's our Middle East, North Africa. We have boots on the ground in Tel Aviv, Israel.
Yeah.
We have opportunities to do it in Mexico City. And right now, most countries can invest in the deals that we bring to our platform, but I think it will create a different sense of networking, community, and results if we actually are in those locales and working with community directly.
Absolutely.
And we're all hearing the same thing that I heard 4 or 5 years ago in this industry, which was, there needs to be more access to capital. There needs to be more access to investment opportunities. So it's looking to be the same. If we can do. We've recently had a vertical approach where we acquired a video game investment platform. We acquired a real estate investment platform. I didn't notice the Marvel stuff back there.
So we have some stuff around, yeah.
Stay tuned. There's some pretty well-known video games coming up.
Yes.
And then, so we're adding a Main Street vertical. We already have the cryptocurrency vertical. I see that same type of strategy approach playing out in international also. Whether it's through joint venture, through whatever, just regular partnerships, but this Republic brand in the community, in the sense of support that we've built here, would be replayed in those other locations too.
Absolutely. Well, and just the ramifications that causes, right? With not only the company that's being invested in, they create opportunities for people to jump on and create an income out of it, or with the product and the services that they can offer. It's just this massive hourglass effect that just happens all around the world. And it's so interesting to see. It's so amazing when, we come together and, what do you call it? The swarm theory, right?
Yeah,
like
the swarm theory.
Just including like these communities of people creating this amazing impact all around. And
I mean, wait till we start getting like money back in people's pockets.
man.
So we did
Can't
focus most of our, early days on equity deals, and those take 5, 7, 10 years to play out. A lot of them fail.
Yeah.
So bring in video games, it's all revenue share focused. Bring in real estate, that's debt focused. Bring in viable investment opportunities that will get money back into people's pockets 6 months, a year, 2 years later, and then it really becomes something special. And I think one of the things that we spent a lot of time on, it's been a pretty hellacious like regulatory process, and we're almost there. And we did a public raise on it a couple months ago as Republic Note. And that further democratizes investing. It further allows people who normally wouldn't be able to get access to most deals or even have the securities rights to invest in them. It actually gives them a chance to be part of these investments that Republic has worked on. So I don't know if you guys know what Republic Note is, but I
think we tried it a little bit on the last.
We know because of PodMax, but I don't think people know about that.
Yeah.
The Republic Note is we took every deal that we work with at Republic, we get a cash commission and a securities commission. So they give us a small investment in their company, and all those investments they went into one bucket, and we tokenized that bucket of securities. And then what would happen when you tokenize it becomes a profit sharing token that we then were able to public, both accredited and non-accredited investors. That token represents every past, present, and then future deal that we worked on at Republic. If you're an owner of that token and one of those companies within it exits, we'll distribute the profits. Well, if it's securities, we have to go through a liquidation process, but if it's cash, we'll do it on a pro rata basis back to all token holders.
Wow.
You guys know companies like SpaceX or Carta or Robinhood.
Yeah.
There's a couple others, Relativity Space and Equipment Shares. Those are big names. We've raised capital for them, and we've received security commissions from those companies. And when there are exits, assuming some of those exit, you as a note holder would actually get exposure to those exits.
Wow.
So it's another great way for people to get in, and it's also a liquid way for people to get in. Yet we still have a ways to go with the regulatory process. We still have to actually, publicly release the tokens. It would go to certain exchanges so that people could trade it.
Yeah.
But we've been working on that for over 2 years, and we're getting there. It's close.
That's so awesome.
That's amazing. Another opportunity right there.
It's just opportunities flying everywhere, Chuck. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do after this show. We're like, man. We're going to invest.
We're just going to go to republic.co and we're going to
absolutely.
invest right
Which
there.
I hope everybody listening or watching right now go and check the site out. So here's another question, Chuck. Like, do you have everything in mind when you started this company? Like, how did that process go, right? Because we chat a lot about listening to your audience and start improving and listen to your things, and I see this like in what you're talking. We're like, hey, we're releasing this and we're releasing that. Is this part of the plan from the very beginning, or these are opportunities that have been coming along the way and then you guys have been adapting to it?
Yeah. I mean, I'd be lying if I said it was mostly planned. I mean, a lot of it was. There's times of extreme focus on certain things, and then there's also mixed in with that a lot of what I would call like, innovative risk taking, where we're trying to quickly come up with something that we know might work, test it out. If it does work, great, we'll run with that. If it doesn't work, we put it to sleep and we go on to the next thing. Yeah. So if we get something that is perhaps standardized or settled, and we know it's part of our core and we need to continue, building it, we will, but we also don't want to sit, still.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the mentality of our team and the desires on the team are to constantly come up with new things that could also add to the, to the overall vision. And that's why we came up with things like Republic Note. Yeah. That's why we, acquired companies like SheWorks, who had 20,000 female entrepreneurs and investors in their network. That's why we did the vertical play. Like we always knew, I guess vertical was one of the things that we knew like in the beginning that we want to do. We needed to build traction, validation, and kind of, make sure that it was a market fit before we started adding all these other verticals.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, when you mentioned about Fig.co, right, which is the video game vertical, I was like, that is so smart. I mean, you see the esport world right now, and it's growing like crazy, right? Like how the value of that industry is massive. And the fact that now, I mean, I'll say they have some of the biggest fans, right, and customers in that industry. And the fact that now they get access to invest in games that they might enjoy later, right? It's absolutely mind-blowing.
You invest and they get a share in the revenue with with that developer. So, they're super aligned at that point because they want to not only like invest and have a return on it, but they're also like hoping they're a buyer of the game. They're telling other people to buy the game. They know what they do. That'll eventually lead to more revenue, which will lead to more revenue share, to get more money in their pocket. So
it's like those three things that you mentioned. I feel like in that vertical, it might be somewhat easier to maybe achieve.
Yep, no, it is.
That's awesome.
That's why you have campaigns at Fig who had 27,000 investors in 27,000 backers in one campaign.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's an engaged group.
And now that we're talking about like innovation and more the company itself, right? I'm curious on the challenges you guys have to bring on businesses that want to be a part of Republic and bring on investors. Like, what are those challenges? How does that look like for you? Or what have you guys been implementing to bring these people in?
It's been pounding the pavement on an education, both for investors and companies. So I was naive thinking 4 years ago we could probably just pound the pavement for a couple years and be good. The reality is there's just too many millions of companies out there who still don't know about, and there's probably even billions of investors who still don't know about this, opportunity or the ability that they have to get involved in private companies.
Yeah.
So we're constantly pounding the pavement with education in mind, bringing people up that curve. And the more that we do it, and there's also pockets of resistance that are helpful to target. Law firms were one of the ones that were really difficult to penetrate 4 years ago. Now it's much better.
Yeah.
You still see things though, like, the New York partner, there's a large law firm, but the New York partners are cool with it and the California partners aren't cool with it. And then, one of the California partners will suddenly become cool with it and the rest start to over like 3 or 6 months. So we're slowly breaking up these, stereotypes or people who just haven't come up the learning curve. And that's really been, it's not a bad problem. It is a problem, but it is like, it's part of our life.
Yeah. It's a long-term thing, and I'm glad that you mentioned education because, and I'm going to use an example of one of our clients, right? We work with this real estate company here in they're local and they do turnkey rentals. And they came to us and our partner and they were like, we need help with our marketing. They were doing like just webinars and like targeted ads and whatnot. And we help them put this strategy, right? Where we literally build them a community and help them create a podcast, and where the main objective was educate people. And it has been absolutely amazing. Like, they got back to us. We've been working with them for like 6 months, and they're like, guys, like, let's just do this permanent now, because it has been amazing. The response from people, they now buy easier into the properties because they know what they're getting into. They're getting all this flow of information, and not only they're buying once, now they want to buy twice and three houses.
We were on a call like just now, and they're like, they're now buying bundles of houses, and we're like, what? Like, people that have been like tuning into the show for the last 6 months, right? They're so educated and they consume all this information and it's so valuable, and then they're like, man, I have no doubt like this is gonna be amazing, so let me just invest, right? And I feel like that's what you guys are doing also at a different level, which I found wonderful, because that's how we met you, right? Through content. And we're like, man, like, this is the thing, and it's gonna become a thing, right? Not only for us, for the company, but for our team members. Like, just provide them with these opportunities and like, okay, how can we do this moving forward, which is amazing. And you guys are tackling that, and I think that's so necessary for everybody that has either a message or a product or something. It's like that process of education your community, right? And then those guys that really sync with your message, they're gonna come with you like to the end of days.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw this out there. In the future, Chuck, we might have plans of doing something. In the tech industry, might be going to you, be like, hey, Chuck, we got this. We want to be a part of Republic
somehow.
Yeah. So you wanted to ask him before I interrupted you about the direct response marketing world. You were gonna say something. All right.
Now's the right time. Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Chuck, I hope you're ready for this question. All right. So we went to college, business school. It was all good. The only purpose on it, like, to be completely honest, that I went to college was to stay here in the States. Nothing more. I was like, I don't see value in this thing unless staying as a student in here, and then I'll figure something out. So through business, though, they teach us, the J curve, right? Like how people in the business side, they come in and, you raise this money and then you work and then you exit, right? That's a simplification of it.
Very simple.
Yeah, very simple, very simple, right? So then we get exposed as we started to build our business and the marketing agency and so on to direct marketing response. And
direct response marketing.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Where's my English today? Okay. So, and then their position is against the J curve, right? Especially like people I've been working with, because they use the direct response marketing to kind of fund the business and then grow it that way through different strategies. When we found out about you, we went through all this crazy stuff, and it's not millions of dollars, but we built a business and we have a team and it's super awesome. But it took us a second. And it was a point in time where I would have loved to have an opportunity like the one you're presenting to people. And I'm sure like there's a lot of people that do that. So what is your take on kind of that? What are some advantages on utilizing a system if you have like a company in place, instead of like depending on solely on these sales? Like, is it okay to go ask for this help from investors and, go out and what's your take?
Yeah, definitely is. I think as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, whatever you want to call yourself, you can't leave any stone unturned, and you have to use every resource that's at your fingertips. And a lot of people take a bit of a backseat approach. They think they read something in the paper, a news rag or online about this company was able to do X, Y, Z, and meanwhile the reporter didn't do it justice by talking about the time it took, or the effort it took, the brain damage it took, the tears that were like lost from it. And they get off track and they think it's going to be an easy road. It's never going to be an easy road. And you got to like I said, turn every stone, try everything that you can, because if you are going to be successful and you really want to be successful with what your plan is, you got to do it. It's not going to do it otherwise.
Yeah. What?
And it's having things like crowdfunding at your tips, but we're not the only thing. A lot of times the mentality, I don't want this to happen within investment crowdfunding. The mentality was VC or bust, and now it's becoming VC, and I can also do investment crowdfunding. I don't want you've got to use everything. Use investment crowdfunding. Use VC. Use angels. Use accelerator programs. Use whatever you can find. Go back to like your school community. There's a lot of different ways you can kind of prime the pump, or compliantly test the waters to figure out what the viability of the crowd, or what they think about your viability.
Yes.
Yeah. So
pushing.
Yeah, Chuck, there's something I really love about your answer, and I'm gonna relate this to a book that I'm reading right now. It's called The Psychology of Money. I think it just got released not too long ago, and the first chapter of the book is like, what you know about money is 0.00001%, and you think it's like 80% of everything about money, right? So that got me thinking. It's like, wow, that's amazing, right? Because a lot of people go their entire life thinking they know about 80% about money, right? And they have these false beliefs, for example, right, in the direct response marketing world, about, J-curve, investing, private equity. And I'm like, wow, like that comment just opened my mind, because it goes back to education. A lot of people are just not educated enough, and they don't know about, the positive side of reaching out. And like you're saying, taking advantage of your resources and the resources that are out there.
And don't be afraid to take I mentioned earlier, climbing to the mountaintops and screaming. It's not much different than like going into a park with a robe on and exposing yourself to a bunch of random people who don't know. You don't do that. It's probably, it is illegal, but you can't be, it's a no shame game. And you have to recognize that right away. And you can have no shame and still be professional and still be courteous to people. So also keep that in mind. But you want to get out there and expose yourself. That's ultimately, I don't care if you're doing B2C, B2B, if you're, the craziest, weirdest technology that no one in the world would ever use except for 5 people, but you want to have a brand name. You want to have an optics and an image out there. So don't be afraid to do it.
Absolutely.
I love the no shame game.
No shame game, yeah.
Chuck, I don't know if you realized, Chuck, in the intro, we said #table face. And that is exactly what it is, you know, like having no shame, going for what you want, asking, like you said, in a polite way, right? In a respectful way. But I feel like there's so many people that are just afraid of doing that, of like putting themselves out there and taking advantage of opportunities.
There is. We get plenty of people who come up through the pipeline who are looking great. You think it's going to be an excellent campaign, and they get to the moment of truth and they get cold feet. Can't be like that, because I think this is a really good, like, it's a good way to kind of filter out who's going to be and who's not going to be successful with their company. It's through investment crowdfunding.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
And I'm sure you guys would like to help, you know, many, many more. But at the same time, if that person doesn't help themselves, like I remember about, you know, a year, almost a year now, I quit my full-time job to do this business, right? And, you know, later, a few months after, we learned that we literally had no business. It was like freelancing kind of deal, right? But, you know, I really believed that what we were doing is creating an amazing thing for our clients, for us, the personal development, right? And what I did was I went out and I found, like, literally I asked for money for like 10 different banks, and I got like 40 grand. Right. And I'm like, this is what exactly, like, with also bad credit, because we also have different names. Fonzie has also like bad credit. So it trickled into me. So we found that out. Yeah. Crazy story. Anyway.
Bad decisions, guys.
But it's okay. It's okay. That's in the past. But anyway, so I was able to find these $40,000 to then, okay, you know, that's going to be my money, my safety money for the next 8 months as we like devote to Beast Bros, to Continence Profit, to what we do now. And I think, like, inside of me, people are like, man, you're crazy, right? When I told my wife a few months after, she had no idea I was doing this, by the way, right? She's like, whoa, man, you, like, everybody's like, you are insane. But I think, like, deep down, we always knew that this was the thing that we wanted to do. And, like, somehow we were going to figure it out. So I want to encourage everybody, like, you don't have to go, you know, you don't have to go as crazy as me, but explore the possibilities. And maybe personal loans is not the best option. Now I know, but it was the option that was there for me because I wasn't educated. So guys, go tune in into these shows, tune in into the people that you follow, learn from them, because keep an open mind. I mean, look at us. We don't do tech. We met you at this event that was all about tech. And now we're fascinated by the world that you're in, and you're helping so many people. So I encourage everybody to do that. And, you know, thank God, I touch wood, that our $40,000 craziness, you know, rampage worked out. Because we invested in a coach and things worked out. We've been doing really good. So
it's funny. This morning I wrote in a little piece of paper, I wrote, there's no opportunity without risk, right? And I think this is a great thing to put it at the end of the episode, because a lot of people were just so afraid of taking risks sometimes, and we prefer to stay in our comfort zone. So we do encourage everybody that is listening or watching to,
thank you, Trish. Yeah, she's putting here. Sometimes it's not about lacking the resources; it's about being resourceful. Right? It boils down from the mindset. That's awesome.
That's right.
Thank you.
It's called taking the leap of faith.
Yes.
Yes. Love it. Love it. So, Chuck, I think we are getting towards the end here, and it has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. But, we have a few questions before we're done. Number one is, what action point can you give to someone that is listening right now to take one step forward? And let's call it a step forward in their financial world.
So I'm going to assume, as someone who's really never dabbled in private investments, I would say visit a site like Republic, a WeFunder, a Seed Invest, a Start Engine, etc. Kind of peruse around, find something that you're familiar with. And then if you do make an investment, invest something that you can afford to lose. You do also want to do it multiple times. You don't have to do it in the same day. It can be over the same quarter or year, but you want to eventually have not just 2 or 3, but something like 10, 12, 15. So keep that in mind when you decide how much you're going to budget to this.
Yeah.
And then feel it out. Like, you'll get some more. And it's probably also good to do it in different platforms, because it'll be different types of deals. It'll be different types of communication. It'll be different, different experiences that you have. And then you find something that you're comfortable with and appreciate. And then you can really, get into, building a true portfolio of private investments.
That's
awesome. Yeah. Thank you. I love the invest in something that you can afford to lose. I think that's a good way to put it, because a lot of people are afraid of putting. I feel like a lot of people see it as, I'm putting all my livelihood in here, right? And then they lose it. It's like, oh, it's all gone. Life's over. So thank you for that. And then the last question, we usually ask people, where would you be if you didn't publish, right? So I want to tackle this in a different way. And I want to ask you, Chuck, where would you be with Republic if you guys didn't educate people?
No, we would have failed.
Plain and simple.
It's pretty easy. I would not be on the show right now.
Yeah.
You will be maybe producing another international TV show.
The TV show wouldn't exist either, man. That would be gone also. That's part of Republic. So.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
We'll definitely have to talk up more about that maybe on the next episode. Who knows?
Part 2.
In the next conversation, because I got so many questions.
Awesome. Chuck, where can people find you? Where can people find Republic? How can they connect? How can they go learn more?
Republic.co. I'm Chuck at Republic.co. You probably guessed that anyways, so I'll say what it is. I respond to most emails. There's some that if you're going to try to sell something to me, I've never met you, I'm probably not going to reply.
Yeah, come on, guys. Build relationships. We've been talking about this all episode.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, Republic.co. We're going to leave all the links right in the description. All you got to do is scroll down and it's going to be there, guys. I literally encourage you guys to go do that. The second we saw Chuck speak at the PodMax event, we probably spent a whole hour going through the site. And right now, the gaming side is in the site. I think it's already integrated. You guys are good to go. They just moved to new offices, so we can't wait. That's why you see all the boxes in the background. And we'll help them and kind of keep the light on.
Yeah. Before we go, actually, Chuck, I actually asked this question behind cameras, but I think a lot of people could benefit from this one today. So what is one book, right, that either changed your life or led you into this financial path that you could recommend?
It was probably From Good to Great, and that was
Awesome.
15, 20 years ago.
From Good to Great. All right.
Yeah.
Well, if it made that impact, it must be good. It's being recommended many, many times. So thank you, Chuck.
Appreciate it.
Adding it to Fancy Book Club.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. I need to start that show, Fancy's Book Club.
Yes. Hi, Chuck. Don't leave yet. You need to experience the Hispanic goodbye. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Content is Profit podcast. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit smash that subscribe button and follow us on social media at Beast Bros Co.
And if you find this episode impactful, which I am sure you did, it was mind-blowing. Don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.